All right, welcome to Access. And I know you're looking at this one and you're like, wait a minute, that looks like Excel. No, I know it's Excel, but it's going to allow us to do something in Excel and then go to Access and then have it done one time so that way we don't have to do everything 1,000 times. So that's right. That's supposed to be the whole thing about computers, making things easier for us, not having us do redundant things over and over again. And I know you guys like doing that, but I'm going to show you a way to where you can do one thing and have it do something else. So we're going to import it. So let's go ahead and look at how we can do that. I'm over here in Excel. And a lot of times when you're dealing with data, you're going to need an Excel spreadsheet, or you might even start off with an Excel spreadsheet, and then you're like, okay, I need to make this data functional for me, so I'm going to have to put it in a database so other people can enter this data a little bit easier instead of them having to know Excel. So that's how we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and do it in Excel first. So we kill two birds with one stone. And I'm going to go ahead and type out maybe like a department head, or let's say like a let's try to do T code in each one of these codes. This is going to be my primary key. And I'm going to put all right, so that's going to be my department name. I'm double clicking in between these so that way I have some space to see this. And maybe I don't want department. Maybe I want something like a team. And then yeah, that's better. I'm going to double click this one to make sure that has some space in there. And then I'm going to give each team a code. Let's say like, and the code has to be original, so it has to be unique. So I'm going to say like 5. There we go. So I have a unique key for each one of these team members, and I'm going to give it each team a name. Now, the thing about these team names, and I shouldn't be doing this online, I don't want anybody to be stealing my names. So I'm probably going to have to copyright these because they're so original. So, okay, so I have these up here, and now I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go ahead and name this sheet. Um, Something like that. And the idea here, it has to be educational because I could show you how to do the whole database in here, but we're going to have to do this in an educational way, meaning I'm going to show you how to bring this into um, Access without having to type anything extra. But I'm also going to show you how to do an Access table so that way we can know how to do that. Then I'll also show you how to do what's called a lookup table so that way when you have data inside of Access, but it's connected to another data table that we can look it up. And explaining it actually makes it sound more confusing. So let's just go ahead and go through it. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do pretty much the same thing. So right here I have Excel, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. Hit Control S. So now from here I'm going to go into Access. So I'll go ahead and minimize this. And I already have Access open. It's brand new Access, not even saved yet. So there's no tables really here. So I'm going to go ahead and import that table. So what I'm going to do in order to import the data is go to external data. And you got to be careful here because what you're looking for is to import. All these are for export. And the reason why I can see that is because I can see under here in this group it says export. So what I'm going to do here is go new data source from file, and I'm going to click on this Excel button right there. And I can go ahead and use this import. I'm going to find this one here, and then I'm going to find that book that I just created. It was book 1. Hit open. I'm going to leave all this the way it is. Hit OK. So then you get this import spreadsheet wizard dialog box coming up, and we do want this first row contains column headers because it does. So we see these column headers here. And so then we're going to go to click on next. And now here I have a chance to kind of change my what's in there, you know, like my column data types. I want this to simply be a long integer actually. And over here I'm going to leave that as team name, and I don't need to really worry about any of these. And I'm going to click next. And now here's what Access is trying to do for me, is trying to add this ID, but I already have an ID. I just called it team code, and it probably should have been called team ID, but I left it as team code. Since this ID is here, I want to remove that. So since I already have the ID here, I want to remove the one that it was giving me. So I'm going to hit next after that. And now I can leave the name because it's going to take the name of the sheet, team sheet. And I can click next. I don't need to save the import steps. Now when you look over here, you'll see I have this team table automatically imported in here. And I can get rid of this joker. And so here's my table. Now that's the one way we can go from Excel into Access. So let's look at now how to just create a table. So that was one way we were able to make a table. The second way we were able to make a table is directly here inside of Access. So I'm going to go here to create a table. I'm going to go to table right here. Under tables, create table. And now from here inside of this table, I'm going to go into the design view. And when I do that, I kill two birds with one stone. First of all, I'm going to be able to save my table name. Second of all, I get to go to the design view instead of hitting Control S, saving it, and then going there. So I'm going to call this table yeah, I'm going to just call it games. And I'm going to go rename this one. I have to close it first. Then I can rename it. I'm going to rename this teams. So that way I have some consistency here. And we'll go to my games. And then I'm going to go here. And now I'm going to change this ID to games ID or game ID. And then here I'm just going to put something fairly simple like title, and I'm going to associate this with a team, and I'm going to use something called a lookup table here. So I'm going to go to the team, I'm going to go down here, I'm going to go to lookup wizard, and then I'll let this look it up by the fields that I have. And I want this to be for the team, and go next. And I don't need the team code per se, I just need the team name. So I'm going to go ahead and do that like that, next. And I want that to be by team name ascending, and next. And this is how it's pretty much going to look. And I can just call that the team field. Do I want to allow multiple values? No, because only one team is going to be working on a game. So it says table must be saved before relationship can be created. Save now. I'm going to hit yes. And now that we have our game and our team, we have our team associated with our game. So now if I go to my game table, and if you look under teams, it'll give me this lookup table that I can just choose information from, which is awesome. So now let's look at the third way to create tables inside of Access. I'm going to go ahead and open up Excel. And if you already had something here, I'm not going to bore you with me typing this out, so I'm going to pause this and type some stuff out here. Alright, so I have this information typed up here, and then you can fill out whatever you want, but basically we have some data here, and I'm going to call this sheet people. And then I'm going to make sure I save this, hitting Control S so I don't lose anything. I saved as a people table, and you can see it up there that it's saved as a people's table. All right, so now that I have that there, I want to make things a little bit easier for me. This is making it easy for me, but I want to also make it easier so I don't have to choose too many things. So I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to create a named selection area. So I highlight everything, and I can just go up here, highlight that, and hit, just type that as people. So that way, every time I select on this here and go to people, I have that selection there. Okay, so that's going to make it easier for me. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure I can see all of these names just for now. So I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to double click in between A and B, and it'll automatically arrange this so that way everything is visible inside of the cells. Now that I have all this, I'm going to hit Control S to save that, and now all I need to do is go inside of Access. Here I am inside of the Access database that we were working on just a second ago. And so now I'm going to import it, but I'm going to import it in a different way this time, but still go to external data. I'm going to go to new data source from file, Excel. But this time, instead of going to import source data, I'm going to link this data source. And then I'm going to go ahead and find my source. And I called it people. There it is. Open. Okay. So in this example, it really doesn't matter, but if you see here, it says show named ranges. If I were to do something like this, and I show this as people, you can see it's pulling that out. But I want to show you something else here. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to the Excel file. Now, inside of this Excel file, I'm just going to do something like this. So see how I have those three there. I'm going to rename this to Group A. Hit enter. Oops, no spaces. So Group A, right? And now I'm going to save this. And I'm going to go back to Access. And now I'm going to do it all over again. I'm going to go to New Data Source, Excel, Link, People. And then I'm going to go to OK. And so this will pop up here. If I show the named ranges, now you'll see when I have the Group A selected, I only get that group that I had created that named range for. And if I have people here, I get everyone here. So this is pretty cool in that I get all these ranges. The only thing I needed to add in this was this top level here. So that way I can have my titles here. But just to give you an idea of why I made those groups, you can see that I can have a one page of a whole bunch of people and have those selected in many different ways by using named ranges. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep the whole list here. And then I'm going to hit next. And the first row is the column header. Keep all that the same. Click OK. Now finish linking tables, people, to this file. Now it's asking you that, well, it's informing you of that because it wants you to know that this database and that file is currently linked. So you're going to absolutely need that file and that database to be in the same file. So I'm going to click OK. Now you'll see here I have three tables here. I have my game table, I have my team table, and I have my people table here that was brought in. And you see this little icon here. It's just saying that this table is not part of Access. It's directly linked to the Excel spreadsheet. So if I were to change something in the Excel spreadsheet, it will show up here inside of the Access. The only problem is, though, if you ever needed to, let's say, go here and change any of these properties, like in here, I can go inside of the home. I can go into this view. I'm going to go ahead and save that table. And I can change the data type here. On the other hand, with people, I cannot do that because it is directly connected to the Excel spreadsheet. And so if someone was changing the spreadsheet, it'll automatically change here in the database. And so you might want to make that determination. Do you want to import something where it's not connected to the sheet, or do you want to import something and have it linked where it is connected to the data sheet? So there we have it. We have three different ways that we can create tables, import tables inside of Access. Standard way, importing without having it be a link, and importing it with a link. Hopefully this was helpful, and make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it, and I'll see you guys next time.